Good morning and welcome back to Tournament Tuesday. And as usual, I'm joined by internet personality and burgeoning swimsuit supermodel Beef Stew. New you, new year, new you, right?
So exactly. How do we say it? Happy New Year 2021. The only thing that's bad about this year so far is that it's got 2020 in its name.
Yeah.
So we had a long, and when I say long, I mean long weekend in Houston.
You guys both a lot.
Yeah, I drove a ton of miles. My weekend in Houston started on the 30th. I drove down to Angleton, which is about 200 miles, bowled 3 games, turned around and drove home. The rain was coming down like God was angry with everyone. On the way back, people were pulling off on the side of the highway. That actually made it more challenging to know whether the road went in that direction or whether they were going in that direction. So I got home, we had a nice night in for New Year's Eve. And then got back in the car in the next morning and drove another 150 miles back to Houston and started off with the singles at Emerald. NDO tournament run by Omar. It was definitely interesting. Being as it was January 1, I got to throw some of the global balls. So I was laughing a little bit with Chris. All of us bowlers always, the grass is always greener, so to speak.
It does end up being that way sometimes.
We had, I used the Zen, and AJ was using an old Money Badger Tour Pearl, the green one. Is that right? So it looks a little bit like an Emerald IQ. So yeah,
makes sense.
I'm wondering whether Facebook is being not so much fun because we don't see any comments. So this is a great start to 2021. I was hoping that all of these issues were going to be erased by us going back to just the Beef and Barnzy channel. But so anyway, to cut a long story short, we that tournament's eliminator tournament. So there we go. We got one comment. People just didn't like us. It was a 3-1. So I got through the first round, bowled fairly well, shot 750. That was good for about 12th, 17th, somewhere around that range. Tommy Jones sighting, 805. The first 3.
Kyle Rusk, new favorite member.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we can discuss his list a little bit as well. But so anyway, the last game is 1-game shootout. It was super exciting. Coming down to the 10th frame, Dimitri Cruz was on lane with 3. He struck out for 278. Then Sean Lavery and Billy Rogers were on the same lane. They struck out 269, 268. Sean had the 268. Tommy Jones had the front 9. Another lefty whose name escapes me had 280 running. And then there was Jacob Hager. Well, Jacob Hager went up, struck out for 279. His wife, Rita, let Dimitri know that was one more than 278. So that was pretty clutch. Then Tommy got up and everybody was kind of like, well, at least he got second. Tommy went up and got 8. So he could only shoot 278. So then he made the spare and struck. We went down to the other. Everybody's eyes suddenly switched down to 3 and 4. The guy got up, got the first one. And then, unfortunately for him, he went from 1st to 6th with 1 shot because he got 7. 267. So it finished 79, 78, 78, 69, 68, 67. So that was kind of fun. So quickly fast forward 2 days, we bowled the doubles, same format. And I completely screwed my partner. So all the things that I've been saying about my partners not bowling so well, right back at me. missed the spare in the ninth. Oh, it was Wukash. John Wukash was the lefty. And I missed the spare in the ninth, and we ended up missing by 6 pins. So, because we're bowlers and we like to torture ourselves, I decided to hang out to watch the last game thinking, well, at least on the way home, if it's like 5:20, 5:10, 5:15, whatever, I'm not going to be too worried because those tournaments are very top heavy. I watched the whole thing. 4:48 came second. That did not brighten up my 2.5-hour drive home. But what did brighten up my day was on Saturday. Yeah, Saturday we bowled a 4-man team. I bowled with Ildemaro. I can show you some video of that when I get a chance to bring it up. But Ildemaro started off with 300. That was kind of cool. He used his Rubicon, a little bit shiny. I really think that's going to be a good ball in 2021, especially on the tour. I feel like it's got a lot of different options. But anyway, we went through that tournament pretty easily. In qualifying, we had 54 points out of 60 going into the last game. So we were already the top seeds in the Swiss format. Anyway, my wife's team ended up finishing second in qualifying. So they took care of Anthony Lavery's team in the semifinal, come to the final, and I managed to open in the 10th to give AJ the chance to basically just close out AJ Chapman. So my wife, AJ Chapman, Justin Bowie, and Rick Mania took down the win. My team of myself, Rick Bernard, Caitlin Johnson, and Ildemaro came second. So fun story. We get back to the hotel. It's been a long day. I crawl into bed. I'm messing around with the iPad. And then I hear Jay Nephew's voice in my ear. And I look over and my wife's watching the replay of the final. So yeah, she definitely took Omar's approach of no days off. So that was a quick slapdash. Oh, sorry, New Year's Day. We bowled the Eliminator tournament. Then we drove all the way back to Angleton to bowl the 5K shootout. I realized that I should have bowled the squad on the fresh because I had no idea what I should do. So I was a non-factor. Frank Snodgrass led and won. First game, he shot 295. Little did I know that I've now seen as many 295s this year as I've seen 300 so far because my partner, Adam Pogge, shot 295 as well. Snodgrass won. Justin Sorolla was second. Can't remember who was third. Lavery Spar, Anthony Lavery Spar, and Tommy were the top 5 in that tournament. So, so that was the weekend that was Houston. I know that you were going in completely the opposite direction. You were drilling and practicing. So,
I did go the other way. I've never been a fan of the one-game shootout, really short formats, even though at one point Patrick Allen nicknamed me the gimmick guy because I made a considerable amount of money on tour to win those kind of gimmicky formats. But yeah, I started drilling some of the other brands and got some of those together. We bowled the Monday sweeper last week, and you talked to Ryan a little bit and got through to him on a different philosophy. So we're moving things in that direction for him as well, and I think things are moving in the right direction that way. So I've got a chance to throw phase 2 and Axiom and Rubicon and X1 and Idle Pearl.
So just a little quick sidebar here. When Chris drilled the phase 2, he texts me, "Man, I thought you were better." He goes, "Man, I thought you were a better ball than I thought. I guess not." Wow.
It was my Christmas ball there for a little while. It looked pretty good for a little bit, and then, my urethane hand took over. And
yeah, I mean, like I say, it's interesting to get the different shapes. just to see something a little different. And obviously for you, it expands your arsenal significantly. I'm not necessarily sure that's something that you're super, super bothered by.
No, I think we've done a pretty good job at Global over the last few years. But personally, I prefer symmetrical balls over asymmetrical balls, and certainly this adds a lot more of those options for me. So if I wanted now, I could have an axiom and idle, pearl, and phase two, and aspect and zen, and have a lot of low RG balls. C4, now I can have a pretty wide range of covers and differentials to go along with low RG balls if I want. So that doesn't always work, but those are the balls historically that I like to have in my bag. And so, I'm excited about that part. Obviously, there's balls that you've seen on tour over the last couple of years, and there's always a couple that stand out, and the bar moves around over the years. I think Zen may be one of them this year that we may see a lot of with the Storm and Roto guys being able to throw those, and there's going to be some balls that we like as well. That I think the biggest advantage is you have a lot of guys that are really good throwing, having access to the same balls, and so in those times when you're a little bit undecided, you can look around and pick out the right color sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, if just on a really small scale, with me floating through social media, I definitely the Zen has been the one that most of the staff on the Storm Rotor side, have been excited to drill. It was way stronger than I expected it to be. I kind of expected it to be a step down off the Axiom Pearl, having seen the demos and kind of seen what you did. And on the friction, I think that it actually hooked a little more. It'll be interesting to see if we play on something with a little bit less friction. Because, like I said to Chris, bowling in Houston is the equivalent for me of bowling on carpet. They hook everywhere in Houston. A lot of bowling in Houston. Some of the centers, very successful. Like I say, the lanes just start to hook a lot. And I guess that's the other thing is once people like to see that shape, the centers aren't going to suddenly suddenly put way more oil on the lane. Like Plano, everybody likes to see the shape and everybody strikes like crazy there. So the owner would be crazy to suddenly go, you know what? I think they hook too much here. I'm going to put more oil down. So that's just the way it is in Houston.
Yeah.
And, for me in Dallas, I feel like they're a little more cliffed. And for me, that's where I actually get a little bit more of an advantage on the house shots because I can play in the oil a little bit more and use stronger balls and kind of smooth it off the cliff, whereas some of the other guys, they can't really get those balls to continue. So it's not as good for them. So they try to use the weaker balls and then they just over bounce like crazy. So that's just that's just a different philosophy, just how it is. I mean, I remember one time I went down to, and this is a fun story, went down to Topeka. Now, Topeka, when I was there, had possibly the most oil I've ever seen in the middle of the lane. That was 100% you played the tug. There was not a person in there who was going left to right. Everybody was going, except Bob Benoit. And if you can turn as slow as Bob, then you can probably make it hook. But that was it.
That's being as where I grew up from at the beginning. That's, I had a higher rev rate when I came out. And it was environmental. I had Kelly Kaufman, who was 25 before it, when 400 was high, and Benoit, and another regional guy named Bill Busby, that they got all over it. And then I went to Wichita, and it was 23 and a half feet of vacuum stripper every day, short oil. So that whole versatility thing, it's not even my fault. I just went from the slickest house shot on the planet to something where Mark Lewis's ball hooks. Liz would have played third arrow in this place, back then. So, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupted your story.
No, there wasn't really a story. It was just that was just the way it is. Like,
Feels like that for me. It feels like it hooks a lot. There's a lot of friction there for a really, really easy house shot. There's a lot of friction there. And
yeah, I just feel like there's still more oil in the front part of the lane there.
yeah,
Like in Houston, there just really isn't. Like you see the balls die so much in Houston. And you realize that's why Anthony and Sean are able to throw it so hard, because that's kind of where they grew up, down in Pasadena and stuff. And one person here quickly, Steve is asking me, how does the Zen compare to the Halo Pearl? To me, it's almost the exact opposite ball. The Halo Pearl has an enormous core, and it has basically the idle pearl cover, which is quite clean for me. So I find that the Halo Pearl is almost feels like it's core strong, whereas the Zen is definitely cover strong. The Zen cover for me, I don't know, because they've all got different names, but for me it feels like that the Zen has a much stronger pearl cover, and it's really responsive in that way, whereas the Halo Pearl flares a lot. And because of the weaker cover, it gets down the lane and is quite flippy. I feel like that the Zen is more rounded than that. So
yeah, I think actually very easily if you took some of the shine off the Zen, it would actually be stronger than a lane shine phase 2. And that's pretty early on, so I'm not sure, because mine doesn't. I don't even have enough games on it for it to have shined up at all. But yeah, where they're going to end up falling, I actually don't know yet.
Roy asked me a question here quickly. He said, aside from financial reasons, why do you use the balls you use? I don't know what BW is. I'm guessing and Radical. Is that Brunswick?
It might be Black Widow.
Well, I thought that, but then he said Radical, so I'm thinking that might be Brunswick. But the reason is I like the traditional Brunswick roll and down lane action. That's not necessarily what people would call the traditional Brunswick reaction, but for me, I made a choice. I just love dealing with the people with Storm, and this is my 10th year with Storm. I felt like at the time their products gave me the best chance to win. I still feel that way, and I'm kind of a loyal guy. I'm not really interested in playing hopscotch. It doesn't make sense for me. So I feel like I've been very fortunate. I haven't really had to ride out the down times, because Storm are on the most incredible run, I think, in bowling history. I think that, Columbia had a time, obviously going back even further, Faball had a time. Brunswick obviously had a time when they were very dominant, and Storm's dominance on the PBA tour has been pretty much my entire career. So, I mean, how much that is the balls and how much that is the bowlers, well, I don't know, but there's a lot of good bowlers who want to bowl with Storm. Another one this week, Kyle Sherman, decided to come on board. So that's the direction I went with. So
for me, it's been more about being once I got kicked off, my tour career, but from then on, it's been with companies that I felt like I could be a bigger part of the company versus a byline number with the company. And so when I first went to Columbia, it was not an easy decision, but I was basically used car sailed by a boss at Brunswick, and who shall remain nameless, Jim Panici. But he and then he told me to deal with it, because he switched the number, and it was my own bad. I didn't thoroughly read through the 4th iteration of it when he changed it, and so at that point we were no longer on the same team, and I went to Columbia, who had been the same group for 30 years, and felt like I could move with that, grow with that company. I was living in Texas. There was future there, and that was a great relationship. And then once they got bought, the whole thing changed, and it became a much different company. And then Global offered us a similar opportunity where I back down in San Antonio, close to where I'm at, and an opportunity to be a part of the process and with balls and some of the decisions and have, obviously not the decision maker, but have some being part of it, of the team there, and being part of a thing. And so that's how I ended up here again. So you know, I think each move has been good for me in different ways. But as I've gotten older, I've searched for more response to go along with that, and that's certainly the direction that we focused on with Global and in those decisions and in those meetings, is trying to get more and more response. And I think we did a really good job with. And the White Badger was kind of the culmination of that, as one of the most angular balls that was on the market at the time. And so, it's been a good thing. More companies than I would have preferred personally. I've been with Vice since 1994, and I love those guys. And we don't even have a contract anymore. I'm there until they don't want me to be there. So that's just kind of how it is.
We've got some help that we need from the Beef and Barnzy audience, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
So 2021 is here, and we need to know, what content do you guys want? We've got some ideas for things that we want to do. We're going to try and put together some more YouTube only content as well on the side, but I think that we've got a thing coming starting this month. We're going to have one show a month. There's going to be a product showcase type show. So we'll be looking. Some of it will be ball reviews. Some of it will be like just how we see the products fitting together. We'll probably have Packy.
This will definitely not be a.
I was about to say
moving forward.
I was about to say there's only one relevant one, and Jesper doesn't really like talking that much. Hi, Packy. Yeah. So if you guys have got anything that you'd like to see, I think that we've got some. Like I say. Oh, that's nice. And then I've got the answer for you here, Packy. I didn't stutter. I think we're going to. I think me and Chris are going to tape some. We're going to tape some matches. We're going to bowl. I'm not sure what we're going to do yet. We might do some forfeits or whatever, but we're going to do some head-to-head matches. I think that people seem to really like that content, so we're going to do that. We're going to do a few more live things on Facebook within the bowling centers.
It's a good idea. I like this one. Breaking down a 9th and 10th frame from TV show matches, bring the video on screen, and then discussing.
Yeah. Okay. We can do
Provided
that.
We can get permission for that. Absolutely. I think that I'll write it down. Assuming that we can have them soon.
Yeah, we can make some of that. Tyler says, hopefully Sean Rash drills a trend. From the pile of balls he drilled last night at Prather's house, a trend was not one of them.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to see a lot of Belmo balls going down in Sean's arsenal.
Lane play strategies and bowling balls that match up well with each type. Yep, definitely. There's going to be some of that. Transition and moves. Yeah. We've got some. We've got some cool ideas for that, and we've got definitely got that on the agenda. More smack talk and head-to-head matches. Yeah, I'm sure we can make that
work. And we are putting together, and we'll introduce next week, a fantasy competition that will involve the Players Championship. And inside of that, there will be some giveaways, and so some product will be involved for the winners. And so we'll be announcing that next Tuesday, and you'll have till Friday, I believe, to.
Yeah, we might, if we can get it together better, we might put up the rules over the weekend when we're together in Shawnee. Because we've got snowman doubles coming up, and I want to give you guys as much opportunity as possible to be able to enter. But our friends at Storm, Rotogrip, and Global, there will definitely be some prizes from there. Our guys over at Coolwick, there'll be definitely some prizes there. I'm thinking some jerseys. I'm thinking some Beef and Barnzy shirts. So yeah, all good. How was the ride home from Houston after Tina's team won? Funny you should say that. We took separate cars.
Well,
so, yeah.
I do want to interrupt real quick because we do have a new addition to our show, and with that, we have a new sponsor. And so, with that new sponsor, we'd like to give him a chance to talk for just a second.
Mark Baker here. Are you struggling with your game? Do you need another set of eyes? Is there that one thing in your game you just can't fix? Please let me help you. Go to markbakerbowling.com, click on virtual lessons, and follow the 3 easy steps. Remember, you can live anywhere in the world, and with virtual lessons, I can help you. Look forward to seeing your videos. Thank you.
So there you go. One request. If you come from here and you go over to Mark's place, make sure you said you came from here.
Yes. Yeah, that's a useful tip, and I think that will serve both parties well. And he wants to know what works and what doesn't, and obviously Mark Baker's a big friend of the program. He's worked with both of us at different times. Me pretty much exclusively over the last, I don't know, 10 years or so, 12 years now, and one of a few resources Stu uses at different times, but certainly one of the top coaches in the world, I think by just about anybody's estimation. So great place to go if you're really going to get kicked off. That's a really good avenue to go. I've used it with Ryan already, and because it's hard to get to California, and it's certainly hard to bowl once you get there. So
here's a fun one. I taped some shots I threw in my backyard, and he was able to pick something up.
he showed me one that somebody did in their living room, without actually throwing the ball.
I think you're underselling yourself. You helped out my friend Brian when he was bowling into a pillow, and he's been very thankful. He's so thankful that he's going to come and kick your ass at the Players this week. He signed up, so he's already been asking me for strategies, and I go, bro, it's $250,000, bro. Come on now. $2,000 tournament. I'll help you all you want.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, 250. You're gonna have to make your own 2-in-1s.
Here's a good one. James Gray says, "How about the correct way to read oil patterns?" Funny, we're still looking for that advice.
Yeah, it really is a tricky thing because it changes so environmentally all the time, and but that's certainly something we can look into.
But we're definitely going to get back friend of the show, John Janovitz. I feel like he is the premier guy for that, because whether there are any better lane guys in the world is still debatable. There are no lane guys who are better than him or close to as good as him who can bowl as good as him.
Right.
That's a very unique combination.
Walk the mile. It is really the tough part. It's the same thing with some of the ball development. For the most part, most of them can't bowl very well. Hank Boomershine is certainly an exception to that, and I don't think it's a mistake that he's had his hand in this run along the way.
Yeah,
as a truly high-end bowler, that he's left-handed.
I always laugh with Hank a little bit, because I go, man, there's always that advice that you shouldn't believe that you're the smartest person in the room. I bet that's really difficult for you, because you literally are the smartest person in the room almost every time you go anywhere. Because he knows a lot about a lot of different things. And if he doesn't know it, it doesn't take him very long to figure out why that's the case. It's I got to see it a little bit at Bowl Expo the one year. My friend Curtis came over and he was asking about, and he's like super smart into a lot of things. And he asked, hey, is there somebody here who could help me out? I want to know what things I should do education wise to go into ball design. And they were like, oh yeah. And he asked a lot of questions that, you know, most of the normal people didn't have any idea how to answer. And Hank was walking by and I go, my friend here wants to know. And Hank was kind of like very busy at Bowl Expo. And so he asked him one question, and I guess that he gave him exactly the answer he needed. Because when he did, Hank's face lit up and he started saying things that me and Schlamm and Ernest were stood there and our heads started to hurt. And it kind of felt a little embarrassing that we were even in this conversation. And then about 6 or 8 minutes later, they came and said, Hank, you've really got to go to this meeting. And Hank turned to the kid and said, thank you. This was by far my most enjoyable conversation at Bowl Expo. So yeah, that was a fun time.
More story time too. Now this is interesting because we've tried to go back and forth with this. And in the comments, please let us know. Do you want some of the more of the historical stories from time to time? Whatever, the good old days, the Barry Ashers and the Johnny Petraglias and the Joe Hutchinson. Do you want some more of those type of stories, or do you want it to keep it more? Would you rather hear more
this century?
Right. And that's
Kyle says breaking down the mental aspect of rolling a perfect game, especially when you get nervous. I tell you what, I'll go live tonight when I've got the front nine.
You heard it here first. Calling his own shot. He did shoot 150 last night. And the Houston house shot had some carryover.
And that was the best. And that was the place where I'm more likely to shoot 300.
Absolutely, absolutely. Always good to hear stories. Keep a variety of past and present, and even the future.
Okay.
All right. Sometimes you struggle with that. You don't know. Sometimes numbers go up or go down, but you don't know if that's just, why it is. So we will, we'll try and keep in some of that from time to time. I find it fascinating as a bridge between, an era that I wasn't part of, and it was a different band of characters for sure, because it was a passion of love more than guys making a lot of money.
It says work in tour stories from time to time. Yeah, I think what we're going to try and do is I think that we're going to do some stuff from tour stops. I'm just not quite sure how we're going to do it yet. Kyle and Brad do such a great job blogging. I don't really want to get into the blogging world. That's not really what me and Chris are good at and what our value is. I don't see. So I also think that Kyle and Brad are much nicer and more relatable than me and Chris. And
it's one thing falling around the house, and it's another thing falling around the BFFs. So
yeah, the FCC probably wouldn't be good with some of the stuff that we were saying. The irony is the person who I think would be most fun to vlog with is Frankie, and that would probably completely kibosh any chance Frankie ever had of winning the Nagy. Although he gets voted for it every year.
Sloan might be pretty good. I don't know.
Yeah, bit of leprechaun. Be interesting to see how that came across.
Maybe not all that great.
He was at the Rash Drill-a-thon over at Prather's basement last night.
Yep. Oh yeah. Nice. Hey, real quick while we're in here, and you guys are we appreciate. Tell us your top 5 guests from this year. Who did you see, and who should we bring back again in the upcoming? Obviously, I think once tour starts, there's a lot of things we can do. Whether it's breaking down what happened and giving you a peek of kind of maybe what those guys were thinking, or at least what we might have done in the same situation while we weren't good enough to make that show, which is always an interesting.
Or even better, we can do a breakdown of our sales bowl of the tour and wonder why did we make, what was it about this game that made me think that was a good idea?
Yeah, why did I do that? That could be a whole segment just about every week.
Oh God, here we go. It says, of course, Tina piloted with the, what was your favorite guest? The Mrs. Beef and Mrs. Barnzy special.
It was just because they had Kimberly press along. So
yeah, I don't know. I got a lot of messages that said, "Why can't you get Tina to do it every week?" Because she doesn't need to do. Because she's got a real job.
Exactly. Mine too.
Tim Mack and Norm Duke. Yep. Would like to see Parker Bone. Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think Norm was perhaps, as our leadoff, was also one of the best guests we had in the entire year. It was.
We might have set the bar a little high when we had Norm.
Yeah.
We need to build into things like that. Bill O'Neill for the draft was fun. I'm definitely, if there is a draft, we're definitely going to go back into the draft thing. Mock drafts were fun. Well, that was nice, Denny. Thanks. Tim Max getting Janovitz, PA, and Mark Baker. Yeah, I like PA. PA is always another one. Can't get enough of PA. Need more of his stories. Problem with PA is he's got so many of those ones that are really great that you end up repeating yourself. That's the only problem. I mean, I feel like I've got hundreds of PA stories. I would really rude with it for 2 years. Man, imagine how many Dougie stories Dougie's got with PA. Moldy, that's an interesting one. I actually felt like Moldy was way better than he seems in the bowling center.
I had a lot of feedback that Moldy for he's so quiet most of the time, and he was great on there. And well, I don't know about this one, but we can look into it, I guess. I'll even write it down. I mean, there's going to be a cross through it, but we'll mark it down.
Randy Peterson, that was entertaining.
Yeah, Randy was good. Randy's always good. When Randy wants to be there, it's always good.
Yeah.
Mookie, I would just get him on. We'll try and catch him in between games. 7th inning stretch, have him on for a few minutes, see how it's going.
Will be his new go-to instead of ESPN.
Yeah. Where you get inside content on Mookie. I'm sure he's in for that. I don't even know, Lawrence, what you're talking about. I am pretty much the picture of tranquility now. 50, new year, new me. Yeah, no kidding.
I don't think he's as good as Ronnie and EJ seem to have that market. The other one who was really good at that, what was the guy? Nick Vogelsang.
Yeah, Nick was good.
He was a professional Golden Tee player. Tyler says we need Mika.
Yeah.
I saw Mika throw that shot the other day. He put a shot on social media. I wasn't sure whether it was in slow motion or if he just goes that slow now.
If that's his actual speed now. There was a few comments like that. There was comments about his, we'll just call it his new haircut. I mentioned that he looked a little bit like Dave Bernhardt from the back, and I didn't realize. Yeah. Sibo. Well, my day is come and gone, but I can still shoot a little. I just moved away, though. I don't have a goal in my backyard anymore. So, yeah.
Kyle says that he'd like to see a Danny Wiseman. So, okay, I think we've got some good ideas for content. Like I say, we're going to keep with this. Oh, yes, Kristen, that is a great idea, but that involves me doing a lot of work.
Yeah. and he'd like to think I'd help him out a lot, but he's way better at that part than I am. So,
yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe. I'm not sure.
We may be able to get some in on some different clips on some different moments, but I think there's probably we're a little further away from that than we.
I need to make more notes. The one other question I was going to ask was: do you think that we should make the show a little shorter? Like make it 30 to 45 minutes rather than it being 45 minutes plus. I'm just wondering whether more people would watch it back if our content was a little shorter. So let us know. No.
Is there enough content? Well, we did have about 75 hours of it last year, so there might be.
Yeah. The problem for me is just like going through all of them because I remember something. It's like, oh my God, longer, not shorter. Oof.
That I guarantee you is not the direction we're heading. So, and now it's plenty long. And really, we find that those 40, the 35 to 40-minute shows, I think, we can extend if we need. When we have that show with Norm, could have went for an hour and a half. I mean, he was fantastic, but in general, most would be much better without the drag on, I think. Monticelli or Robert Lawrence. Good call.
I get Robert Lawrence easily. I bowl league next to him every week.
Okay. Not shorter.
Guess we're not going short.
Trying to get Tim Mack out in less than an hour. We just have to cut the feed off. Vince Biondo. Hey, that's the redhead Spin Biscuits dad.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what he'll always be known as. Not former Team USA player, not Eagle winner, not any of those things. Just Spin Biscuits dad. Yep. Yes, I did see this. It was insane. It didn't help my argument for how to spare the Greek church. Ironically, I don't think I've ever seen a lefty leave the Greek church, so that was kind of fun. So did you see this, Chris?
I did. And according to you, she shot the wrong way.
And made it.
And struck to tie after it. And won the roll-off.
Well, at that point, if the person gets up to shoot it, gets down, relines up, spares it, and then strikes, do you think seriously that you've got any control over winning that roll-off?
You got to feel like the guy up above, whichever one you follow, is not looking out for your best interest at that point. There's a bigger plan out there that you're not a part of.
It's not you winning.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
It was really amazing. Yeah. If you haven't seen that one, go over and watch that one. It really is a fantastic, looks like somebody put the link up in the bio. Click on that. That's worth a watch when we're out of here. So,
yeah. He's not short of an opinion.
No, we've actually had a few guys with less titles on than him. So, I mean, it's possible.
So we're going to, I'm also, I had a few people say that they really like it when we drop video into the shows. So we're going to try and do a little more of that this year from our events. So yeah.
Branham, Liz. Yeah. I got to see George a little bit. He came out and bowled a stop in Indy here a couple of years ago and knocked the dust off and bowled with us. Guy was really good. TOC champion, among other things. So
like just quickly, for those who didn't see it on my social media. Oh, I just pressed play. Oh God, I'm such an idiot. I just pressed play on the not on my screen. So here's Ildemaro shooting 300 at the weekend. So that was.
He seems to do that about every week right now.
Yeah, him and AJ have been knocking over a lot of pins.
Yeah,
he actually won with AJ Rice in the doubles.
Oh, wow. There you go. Another guy is not afraid to throw a strike.
He was afraid to throw a strike on the second, though. Wow.
Yeah.
He was bad. And then he came the next day, and he had what all superstars had. He had real short-term memory, because if he didn't, he would have probably been sat in his hotel room in the corner crying. It took him till Game 6 to shoot 200 in Armadillo 1 at the weekend.
Wow.
It was painful. And his team still made the top 5. The Swiss format, everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, the equalizer formats. We've had some luck, but yeah.
Here we go. I said to Tina, I go, man, the Swiss format's so much more fun when you win every game. Anybody who likes the Swiss format, it's because you've had good things happen to you. Because otherwise, just
being stuck in the middle of the Swiss format and going win, loss, win, loss, win, loss is.
What's the worst is when you is like like Tina's team had the most incredible run to get back in. They play the first game and the team bowled great against them and they lose, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they drop down to the bottom, which in the Swiss format often works out really good.
There's 2 ways that you go. You win early
and just stay at the top like we did. Or
yeah,
you lose the first one, and then you theoretically play some of the weaker teams.
Yeah, and you just keep bumping up.
They played Doherty and Maldonado the second game and lost again.
Oh, God. Nice draw.
So then you're basically dead. They were in second last. And they went sweep, sweep, sweep. 3 wins and the totals to make it. Wow.
In 5 games?
Like, it was 6 games.
6 games?
And they swept 3 times in a row, and then they only lost 1 the last game to go from second last to second.
Yeah, in 6 games, it's pretty hard to lose twice. And
yeah, I mean, it was just the fact that they had like 4 points after 2 games, and then they just went sweep, sweep, sweep. It's like, whoa. So
not much room there. Well, I think that
wrap it up.
We can wrap it up. There was a question in there earlier about what we're doing to get ready. I'm drilling some of the complementary pieces to my normal 6 to 8 ball arsenal I have with my global balls, and seeing, which ones I'll add in. I'm not a big guy and totally swapping things out, and so that's not going to be my plan. I'm going to try and find some things that complement the ones, my favorites. We are also going to start Tuesday pot games is going to turn into a Wednesday practice session at Louisville. We cannot practice at Garland, and so we're going to put out the patterns Wednesday, perhaps Thursday.
Is that the rule? Is that the rules?
That's a rule now, yeah. So I'm not sure who or why, but I'm sure,
So is the bowling center shut?
No, it's open, but we're not allowed to put the practice on the patterns in that center.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry. I thought they were saying we're just not allowed to bowl in Garland until we bowl the tournament.
No, I think you can bowl what you want. I mean, some guys bowl league there. Actually, not very many that are in the tournament. I don't think. They don't really have a good scratch league there that I'm aware of. But it's far enough away from me. It's a specific trip to get there. So, yeah. So we're going to put it up at a different AMF center, and some of the old Tuesday pot game guys will be there, plus a few others. Rambo Ray, I believe, will be joining us, and some others. So, yeah, we're going to throw the patterns out, and we'll try and live stream a little bit of that for those of you that are interested, and it will be on this channel. So,
yeah, we'll get some more content up for you guys, and we'll see. I apologize for getting a phone call in the middle of the show. That wasn't great, but them's the breaks.
Was it Dom again?
No, it was something completely annoying.
Yeah.
The emergency center calling. I don't care. Go away.
we'll get the fantasy details out to you by the weekend or the end of the weekend, and and we'll get that show up and running as well, and we'll start matching up content to what you guys want to see most. So feel free. Appreciate you hanging in there with us. For those of you who jumped over today and added Beef and Barnzy, the Facebook page, to your follow, turn on those notifications, and so circumstances above our control, this is where we'll be streaming from now on.
If you can share it out, that would be really appreciated. Trying to get the word out, try and get the Beef and Barnzy channel up to 10,000 likes, something like that, so that we can really start to see the show grow again.
Sounds good. Well, as usual, there are people who make this show go, and so please support our sponsors: Storm, Rotogrip, 900 Global, Vice Turbo, Coolwick, 3G Shoes, Dexter, Master, Bowler's Mart, and Mark Baker Bowling. Until next time, support those small businesses. Keep them open, help them get through this tough time. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. God bless.